Hola, senores y senoritas. Welcome to the first stream of 2026. It is Sunday, January 4th, 2026. And there was no work yesterday. And I only went to White Plains today. So not a whole lot going on. And what else work-wise? Oh, I have to form a New Jersey LLC in order to maintain my employment. Or else they're going to put me in the do not use list forever. So, got to do that. Anyway, welcome everybody. Welcome to the Sunday Night Chill stream. Tonight's stream, I was looking at a bunch of different titles, but Operation Burrito Bowl is what I went with. I went with Operation Burrito Bowl, and part of the reason I called it that is because, to be honest, I had said a couple of weeks ago, like, how the fuck are we going to invade Venezuela? Like, what are we going to do? We don't have the troops. We got millennial, Gen Z, queers, and fucking transgenders. And how the fuck are we going to invade Venezuela? Every Venezuelan housewife with a kitchen knife would fucking chop these people up to bits. And I said, before we do an invasion, they usually build up, like, oh, here's the landing forces, here's the ships they're going to use, blah, 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 blah. They kind of do a commercial for the stuff they're going to use. And this is all I saw, like this picture right here. This is like 3 Marines in a rubber boat. And I'm like, what do you think you're going to fucking invade Venezuela with, with half a dozen guys in a rubber boat? Like, that's not going to happen. I had no idea, though. Did I have no fucking idea. Why they were going to do what they fucking did. That is crazy, man. That is absolutely crazy. Kudos to Delta Force, which apparently had an exact replica of Maduro's house, including his safe room with the steel doors, and they brought welding torches to cut through the steel doors if he got to the safe room before they did. But they practiced running through his house in the dark. I don't know how many times before they actually did it. Really super, super interesting. And, that when the government said, why don't you just leave, a couple of weeks ago, just let it go and just walk away. I thought, oh man, the arrogance, but who knew that, that shit was, that was them showing some kindness, and I saw stupid shit like this, like shamans predict Maduro fall and more, and so they got the voodoo guys out there saying that Maduro's going down. But I'm like, oh, this is like the dorks at CIA fucking coming up with their psyop shit. But yeah, for sure they fucking they got it done, and so fucking fast. Jesus Christ, that was so fast. Where's and the let's see, the kudos, the worldwide kudos pouring in from everywhere, including the House de Rothschild.
And I just want to enjoy today and this week and this month and even the rest of this year, savoring this moment. So I don't really think about the next step. This is
So you see, the Rothschilds don't really think about the next step. All that stuff they tell you, oh, this is planned ahead 100 years in advance. No, it's not. Everything fell into place for them, and that's that. So they're happy with that. Their settler colonial state is one step closer to global domination, and the PR and the spin and the media on this is awesome. And they got Maduro to do a perp walk.
Excuse me? Sorry?
Hello. Happy New Year. Bienvenido. 6, ¿entiendes?
So there you go, limping and in handcuffs. They drag him out, and it's a huge win for Trump in the polls. I mean, people just eat this shit up. And people like me who I planned on mocking the whole Venezuela invasion thing. I was wrong. I wasn't really wrong because we don't have an invasion force. I just had no idea. I didn't really think that they could pull that off like they did. But apparently it's a really bad fucking idea to defy Washington. And I think that message getting out around the world because sooner or later, I don't know if it's going to be this year or next year, Operation Toasted Shawarma, is going to kick off. And I don't know if they can do in Iran what they've done in Venezuela, but, after that will be Operation Spicy Kimchi. And then I think they'll be done at that point. They'll have to turn after Operation Kimchi, or Spicy Kimchi, I should say. Then they're going to have to turn all their attention to Vanilla ISIS, which is what they're going to call white people. Right? Back a little play on the 90s rapper. But all the white people that oppose Zionism will be called Vanilla ISIS, and they'll come after us. But first, a victory lap for Operation Burrito Bowl, and then it's on to Operation Toasted Shawarma. But and this is these social media accounts that, I hate Donald Trump. Like you don't even get how you just don't get how they're winning on this one. Whoever did this at the White House deserves a raise because it makes this sick old man look like a fucking gangster.
Guys, the actual White House just posted this on X 2 hours ago.
Por mí. Aquí lo esperan Miraflores. No se tarde en llegar. Cobarde.
And now, if you don't know, now you know.
That's all I have to say. We are all completely unhinged. We are unhinged. Who let this happen? Who allowed this? Someone take away the White House PR media's phone.
No, because that was fucking brilliant. They got Trump doing the slow motion walk to the gangster rap track. That's fucking huge for them. That's a gigantic fucking win. Starts out the fucking year on a big win for the White House. And let's be honest, there's considering they needed that because this they had to actually answer this. And then, the PR stunt of Maduro is going to overshadow this reality.
President Donald Trump told the Wall Street Journal in an interview that published Thursday that he takes a higher dose of aspirin than his doctors have recommended, blaming that for the visible hand bruises that have generated new questions about his health. They say aspirin is good for thinning out the blood, and I don't want thick blood pouring through my heart, the president, who is 79, said in an interview with the Wall Street Journal. I want nice, thin blood pouring through my heart. Does that make sense? I'm a little superstitious, the president added, noting that he has been taking aspirin for 25 years. Trump's physician, Dr. Sean Barbabella, told the Journal that the president takes 325 milligrams of aspirin daily. And the interview appears to be one of the most extensive conversations that Trump has had with journalists about his health, as scrutiny has intensified in recent years over his age, fitness for office, and whether or not he's being sufficiently transparent about his medical information. Now, Trump has...
So you will bruise a lot. When I had my heart attack in 2008, the first doctor I went to told me to take one full aspirin with 325 milligrams a day, in addition to some other fucking blood thinner. I can't remember. And I would bruise. You know what I mean? I couldn't believe how easily I fucking bruised. And then I did that for like years. And then some other doctor asked me, like, well, what are you doing? I said, well, I take an aspirin every day. And he said, like, oh, the little baby aspirins, right? I said, no, I take a full aspirin every day. And he's like, what the fuck are you taking that much aspirin for? Nobody says you only need that for like 48 hours after a heart attack. And he said, switch to a baby aspirin. And ever since I switched to baby aspirin, I do not bruise hardly at all. So there's something to that, but we all know that Trump has bigger health problems. much bigger health problems. Yeah, this, kudos to, I guess, the champagne corks are popping at CIA and whatever they drink in Fort Bragg, they're drinking in Fort Bragg. We've pulled off a hell of a fucking stunt there. Whatever you think of the politics, the tactical shit, the ability, the operational ability to pull that shit off, that is slick as fuck. And that's what you get when you got, you got resources, you can get the talent, you got the equipment, and you can make all sorts of shit happen. But if you don't have any resources and you don't have people and you don't have skills, well, then you're fucked. Then you sit there talking about third positionism and someday maybe something that's not capitalism or communism and blah, 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 blah. In the meantime, we've got, what have we got? Well, here, this is where the reason why Candace Owens is now, who's the next fucking shill that she's going to destroy? It's going to be Alex Jones. I'll show you that in a minute. But here's Candace Owens talking to that guy Russell Brand.
Sigmund Freud came from a Sabbatean family. This is Jewish mysticism. And they believed that this man, Sabbatai Zevi, was their messiah. He was a homosexual psychopath who believed in practicing incest as a sacrament. This is how they were going to move forward in the world. And Sigmund Freud discovered that the reason that they do this is because it conditions the child to grow up to be a psychopath, because of what they have to go through trying to understand why their parents did this. This is all real. All of these authors are Jewish. They support the Jewish movement. The second author, David Bakan, I think actually regrets writing his book because he thought it was going to be this like expose of, why the Jews in Europe should be sympathized for. And then people went, wait, what's going on here? It's right in your face what's going on. They have a tremendous amount of power. They've always had power. And it is because what they believe in is evil is okay. They believe in the doctrine of evil, that you must lower yourselves and commit the most depraved acts of evil to prove that evil doesn't actually exist. And then you can ascend in society. That to me seems to be the guiding philosophy of people in Israel, I would say. Like this idea that you can commit acts of evil to get ahead in society. When I see what's happening in Gaza, how do you look at this and not understand this is evil?
Wow. So there she is. She's noticed it's not just the Zionist, it's the Sabbateans, the Sabbatean, the homosexual incest rape cult that was honored, was normalized with the enshrinement of Sigmund Freud and his pack of lies that man, they pushed that shit hard back in the day. But what Candace Owens has noticed is you have to do acts of evil, homosexual incest, in order to rise up in the world. And that is true. And the next video I have is a minute long, and it aired on national TV. And this is a perfect example of selective attention. It's literally right in your face, and you don't see it. You hear the words, your ears report the words to your brain, but your brain just does not understand it.
When I'm at school, sometimes my dad will just pull his pants down.
Hey!
Will is always, Will is always playing. He plays. Okay.
I can kiss my son. I can kiss my son. Jaden, come on.
Jayden jumped up and ran.
No, not on the set he wasn't trying to kiss me, but after the set he'll try to kiss me or anywhere else.
So what do you think? Is Jayden still too old to get kissed by his dear old dad?
And I always find something wrong.
So Will Smith raped his own kid to become the biggest actor in Hollywood in the 90s. And Corvus Keel in the chat. Welcome, sir. Welcome to the first stream of of 2026. So yeah, that video of Will Smith, you know, there was something floating around on social media how all these big Hollywood stars, all their daughters are pretending to be boys, and all the boys are transitioning to something else. So all the different ones, like the one from South Africa, all of them, they all adopted kids and they all raped the kids. So and that's how you get to be somewhere in. That's how you get to be someone in Hollywood. That's how you get that 5-picture deal or 3-picture deal from 20th Century Fox. Okay, and the phone is just frozen. So stand by a moment. We got to reload. Yeah, so you know, this idea that these people are normal is it's just wrong. It's just wrong. But our friends, the fact that America is fucking unstoppable at this point is super obvious. But and what when you believe in political fairy tales, right? When you believe in leftism, rightism, thisism, thatism, and they're all fucking fairy tales. It's all fucking fairy tales. The real reason why Maduro fucking went out, literally like a fucking light switch, you know, we shut off the electricity in the city, but the reason why nobody fought for him is right there, right in front of you. Nicolas Maduro inflated Venezuela's currency by 50 million% in 12 years. I've said it before and said it again. Most governments are just criminal gangs. And the most powerful one, the biggest, the strongest one, is the United States of America. And all these miniature little gangs are getting fucking wiped out by a bigger, stronger, more resourceful gang. So 50 million% inflation, you have robbed me, my parents, you robbed my grandparents, you're robbing my children. And now what the Americans are coming in, the Marines are coming in, a Delta Force, or in this case was Delta Force, whatever. A hostile, armed outsider group is going to come take over the country. Do I give a shit? With 50 million% inflation, do I give a shit? I actually sit there like everyone else and go, I don't know, fuck it. Pass me a bottle of rum, you know, maybe things will get better for us. And nothing else makes sense. And this is the lesson nobody fucking learns. None of them learn because they cannot give up the power of the money printer. Cannot give up the power of the money printer, right? And guess what? When Operation, you know, Toasted Shawarma comes up, this is what's good. This is what's going to drive Iranian apathy. There is no nationalism. That's all bullshit. There is no patriotism. That's all bullshit. When you've been starving and your children are fucking starving and the lights are off and you're fucking freezing, there is none of that shit. It does not exist, right? And where's yeah. You know, Iran on the brink. Iran's economic crisis deepens. Widespread protests have erupted across Iran. Blah, 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 blah. And now, a little bit too late. It's too fucking late. This is the Iranians. You know, bombs for Bitcoin. You know, Iran selling arms for crypto. Iran is now offering to sell weapons like missiles and drones for cryptocurrency to bypass sanctions, according to the Financial Times. And I also saw that this is from one of the crypto magazines saying the same thing. Iran offering advanced weapons to foreign governments in exchange for crypto. If they really wanted to survive, they would just legalize Bitcoin. Just let everybody use Bitcoin, legalize Bitcoin now. But that would turn their, whatever the fuck their money's called, which is fucking toilet paper anyway. You know what I mean? It's already toilet paper. But it would give their culture a chance to survive. It would give them a chance to survive. But, you know, they were always worried about the women were wearing the hijab. Oh, you got to wear the hijab or else, you know, if you don't do that, the religious police are going to beat you in the head. like they may try to make a beef out of that. Near where I pick up the airplane ports near Teterboro, there's some guy who has like a rug warehouse with a big flag that says "Free Iran, women's freedom," and blah 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 blah. Nobody gives a shit about that. You know what? If you want women to wear the hijab, pay them. At the end of the year, pay them whatever, $500 for wearing a hijab every day. If they don't fucking wear the hijab, tax them. It's that fucking simple. You don't have to go hit them with sticks, you fucking retards. It's a simple incentive system, but none of these parasitical cocksuckers can figure it out. None of them, not one of them can figure it out. Holy crap, we got a lot of people here. So we got Jay Wild. I'm not sure who that is. Hello, Jay Wild. Corvus Keel, welcome to FDFC. It talks about cryptocurrency and this week's events. Not cryptocurrency, specifically Bitcoin. I avoid shit coins like the plague. They are. Yeah, you aren't, when you have to work your entire life for what another man can print for free, you're a slave. And when you're a slave, you give a shit that the guy telling you what to do has the same accent as you and eats the same food as you, or does it make a difference if the guy has a different skin color and listens to different music? It doesn't fucking matter because nothing changes for you. And that lesson is completely lost on every one of these motherfuckers because they cannot give up the power of that money printer. They just can't do it. And that's everyone. That's fucking everyone. And this is just the way it is. Where's and aside from to just continue to try and finish out on that theme of let's rape the children or let's raise a generation of fucking degenerates. They're conditioning, and this is in the state of New Jersey, they're conditioning you to accept some stuff you should not accept.
Oh, baby's beautiful.
Congratulations, you two. We just need to fill out a little bit more paperwork.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so we need to know the baby's gender and the baby's sexual orientation. So, first of all, is the baby male, female, transgender, genderqueer, or some other type of gender that we don't have here on our list?
What?
We also need to know the baby's sexual orientation. Is he straight, gay, bisexual? Could you just let us know what his sexual orientation is?
That's a real form used in New Jersey hospitals today. And by the way, a lot of the hospitals are part of the Mount Sinai Medical Network. A coincidence, I'm sure. Surely a coincidence. Corvus and Jay Wild. Jay Wild, I'm not sure where you're from. Maybe you popped over here from Rumble, but I don't know how you would get here. But you got the little Rumble symbol on there, so I don't know. Maybe you're listen, you've managed to make it to this part of again, I gotta fucking reload. It's anti-Semitic Bitcoin. We're always anti-Semitic. I'm pro-freedom. This is how I view the world. I view the world as fiat currency versus Bitcoin. And I am on the side of Bitcoin. And because at the end of the day, when this headline was added to the Genesis block of the Bitcoin blockchain, what you see on the screen right now, this is not a coexist bumper sticker. This isn't a plea for us to all just get along. That's a declaration of war. Whether you understand it or not, it's a declaration of war, right? That's waving the bloody shirt. That's the call to action. Like that play in France. What's the one that there was a play where there was a French play that was on Broadway. They made a big deal out of it. Les Miserables? No, is it Les Miserables? Or was it another one? I don't know what the fuck. I don't know. It doesn't make a difference. But seriously, Bitcoin was built, engineered, designed to destroy fiat currency. Whether whether you understood it or the people at the time understood it or didn't understand it, like I said, that headline, including that headline in the Genesis block, the very first block of Bitcoin, is a declaration of war. It's not, come on, let's hug it out. It's not, can't we all just get along? That's not what it is. And you might think that we don't have a chance. And okay, you can go with you can go with whatever you think is going to work, but invariably you believe in a political fairy tale, and you can afford to do that for a certain amount of time until the lights go out, till you have no food, your kids are screaming and crying, and you don't have shoes, and it's winter or whatever, and then all of a sudden, all that grandiose fucking bullshit in your head right out, and you will do any fucking thing to put food on the table for yourself and your kids. And so when you understand that the world is a system of incentives, right? Do what I want, and I'll give you a reward. Or if you don't do what I want, I will punish you. That's all there is. And the more honest and transparent each system is, the more likely it is people will figure it out. But in the meantime, we've got, what do we got? We got a bunch of stuff going on. So I talked about the money printer, bombs from Bitcoin. There's a couple other. What is this one? What is that one? Yeah, we might as well go nuclear. We might as well go nuclear. So this is from this is a magazine about, I think it's about for Congress, and somebody, some Neil Chattajadley, some fucking curry muncher, says Microsoft wants to resurrect 3 Mile Island. It will never happen. Listen to me, Pajit. It will most definitely happen. Once again, want to point out that there are two aircraft carriers that we are going to rip apart to take the nuclear reactors out so that they can be used in AI. That's not stopping. It is not stopping. It is not stopping. 2026, U.S. targets 2026 nuclear reactor startup. The U.S. aims to boost nuclear power, eyeing 2026 for new small reactors to reach a self-sustaining reaction. This is part of a plan to quadruple nuclear output by 2050 due to rising energy needs. Well, here's what's going to happen. Mark Zuckerberg and all the rest of them, they don't want to upgrade the current electrical grid. They're not going to do that. They want these mini reactors that they can put in the back of an 18-wheel truck and roll them right up to the fucking data center, plug them in, and give the data center, the AI, fucking all the juice it needs. Meanwhile, the rest of us will be struggling with the fucking literally 100-year-old electrical grid that costs an eye-watering amount to upgrade. So, and Jeff Bezos and all the rest of them, they're not going to, not one penny will they spend on something that will not directly benefit them exclusively. So these reactors, these new super small nuclear reactors will be created. They're working on them right now, and they will power the AI future. And the rest of us will be left with whatever we're left with. We'll be paying higher. We'll all be paying higher electrical bills for I don't know how fucking long until they get those. But yeah, that when the Pajit says, "Oh, Microsoft is never going to reopen 3 Mile Island," yes, they will. It won't be exactly the same like it was in the 70s, but there's going to be something there, and they're going to have another nuclear plant there. And in terms of, listen, this is going forward. These are ideas. This was from stories from January 2nd, 2 days ago. Officials break ground for first of its kind underground nuclear reactor. Nothing is off the table at this point. The full creativity and imagination of American engineers is going nuts because this thing is going to happen, and there's nothing you can do to stop it. If you were smart, and I don't know how smart you are, but I've said this, if you're a normie and you got a wife and kids and a 401k and blah, 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 and you're still kind of like part of that world, and you can't be like an insane Bitcoiner. You could take your fiat, take your dollar bills, and buy nuclear power stocks. Buy Constellation Energy, which is the one that's associated with Facebook, or Talon Energy, which is associated with Amazon, or Centrus, which makes the fuel rods, or Oklo, which Sam Altman was involved with, or there's other ones. Pick that you literally sort of can't go wrong. Cameco, like all the nuclear power stocks, if you look them up in the last year, they're all up at least like 40 or 50%. So if you're trying to save your money, you have to look like a normie to the normies. Buy those fucking stocks and then do nothing. Just do nothing for the next 10 years. And your money will grow faster than inflation. So that's the other thing you can do. Because that shit is coming. That is 100% coming. And this chat is fucking going. Wow, this guy Jade, wow, holy crap. These guys are going hot and heavy in the chat. First time, Jay Wild. First time. Well, okay. How did you get here, Jay Wild? I don't. 3 Mile Island. Yeah, it's right by. I was out there. Is it Harrisburg, Pennsylvania? I think it's Harrisburg. You can see, like, it's one of those things where you come off the highway and you're coming down like the side of, I don't know, it's probably foothills to the Pocono Mountains or something, and you can see the big cooling towers and the river that goes by it. So, what do we got? Yeah, it would be great. Listen, it would be great. The future is going to be electrified and it's going to be nuclear, but mostly it's going to go serve Zuckerberg, who will be president. Although I don't think he's going to be president right away. I always share OB's dream. Who's OB? I'm not friends with OB, but I am not a prayer. Who the fuck? You guys are talking about somebody I don't know. You're deep into the white supremacy. The white supremacy stuff. I got some white supremacy stuff. Did you know they're doing a remix of The Hobbit? Yeah, it's the racist remix of The Hobbit.
The Shire was full of simple white folk. Not a Jew or Negro for hundreds and hundreds of miles. Stories of far-off trannies and homosexuals were told to scare the children, but none had ever been even close to these parts in 1,000 years. Usury was a thing of myth, as of course was women's suffrage. Once in my youth I had seen a tan man, probably Italian or maybe at a push a Greek, and of course we had all vaguely heard the name Israel whispered in the corners of the taverns late at night. But all in all, the Shire was free and beautiful, and full of us white folk and nobody else. We had secured a future for our children, and had educated them in keeping foreigners out for all time until the end of everything and beyond. And heaven awaited, though in truth, we were already there.
I gotta admit, I got a huge kick out of that. I got an absolutely huge kick out of that. Because I grew up, when I was a kid, America was whiter. But, there's no escaping these guys. When I was in Greece in October, I started watching this a Netflix series called Peaky Blinders, which was about a group of English street thugs, a gang of English street thugs that were like trying to work their way up to become like a real successful organized crime family. And it was set right after World War I in Birmingham, England, the blah, 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 blah. And the thing with these guys is they had these, they had those like flat caps, and they would sew a razor blade into their cap, and they'd get into a street fight and they would pull the cap off and they would fling it, across the eyes of whoever they were fighting. And of course, cut them with the razor and blah, 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 blah. And that was like meant to show that they were like this really brutal, savage street gang and their rise to power. So, and I don't know, I can't remember exactly how it went. I think there was like, season 1 was like, I think it was 6 half-hour episodes or something like that. It wasn't very long. It's like a half-hour episode. And they fumbled a few things. They fumbled some stuff on World War I and a bunch of other things, and they had a communist character that they ended up killing off. But he was a good guy, communist or whatever, who was like a war hero. And anyway, I saw all of season 1 and 1 episode of season 2, and I was like, oh shit, this is kind of, I thought it was pretty good. I thought it was interesting period of history, and they had a couple of good actors there. They showed the cops as being worse than the fucking bad guys. And I'm like, oh, this is kind of like an interesting show. And I wanted to see the rest of it. But now I've learned I don't need to see the rest of it. It went 4 seasons, and this bit is from the 4th season. I presume they've done, well, the lead character is a guy named Tommy Shelby, and he'll be dead center in the screen like 10 or 15 seconds in. He's not the original speaker. The original speaker is some other, Richie Rich dude from England. But in season 4, apparently right before World War II, the Irish gangster or the English gangster bro goes to this party.
The men of money, the capitalists in New York, the Jews, the money power, they run an international system in which the infinite mobility of money, its capacity to create financial chaos and panic, can bring down any government that dares for one moment to oppose it. For generations, the efforts of hard-working men like you have equipped our competitors against us. The cotton mills of India, the cotton mills of Asia, created with British money, but used for the destruction of Lancashire and Yorkshire. The usurers of New York, the sweated labor of the Orient, combining to destroy the iron and steel factories of Warwickshire and Staffordshire. These are policies that could not be pursued by British statesmen unless they were mad or the servants of Jewish finance. They are the ones who took your money. But it is I and those who know this truth who will light a flame the atheists cannot extinguish. You will join hands with the angry youth of Birmingham and Manchester and London and Liverpool and declare that England lives tonight and marches on.
Oh man, that's exciting. Anyway, he was the main character, Tommy Shelby, the one with the 2 girls on either side of him. I don't know who that guy's going to be, but there's a bunch of things wrong with that speech. Not the least of which is the wealthy elites go along with the central bankers. You know what I mean? That's how they maintain their position. It's so, and they would not openly say stuff like that. These guys mix and match a bunch of things. But anyway, I'm not going to watch any more Peaky Blinders because only the first 2 seasons were any good, and that's the 4th season. And after that speech, this hardened, murderous gangster dude who, fought in the fucking Sorbonne and the trenches of France with the poison gas and the fucking all the rest, he becomes he decides that he's going to be Captain Save a Jew. You know what I mean? He decides to take up the cause of the Hebrew or whatever. So whoever wrote this series and got it kind of going, when that shit becomes popular, of course, and there's a lot of eyeballs on something, that's when the people who in charge fucking inject their propaganda in it. That's why the racist Hobbit movie, that's why I love shit like that, because it is so counter to what they want to show. And however, that's like too sophisticated for a lot of things. I've said this before, the Calci and the poly market stuff that is going to rule the world. Back when I was young, next guy I'm going to show, was considered one of the greatest actors in the world, an English guy, Peter O'Toole, and he's talking about he was in Lawrence of Arabia. He was Lawrence in Lawrence of Arabia, and this is him talking about not the film, but the reality of what they were doing after the film.
I mean, Omar Sharif is a compulsive gambler. He won't mind me saying this because he knows he is. And he, do you know Omar?
No.
When we shared digs together, which we did for over 2 years, it was like living with a younger version of my father.
Give me £40 to 10 elegant friends.
There was one point when Omar and I, we were in Beirut, and we lost in a few hours every penny that we'd earned for 9 months in the desert. And we were in the lavatory, trying to sell our passports.
5 to 2 Spanish verdict. Give me a tenner on Spanish verdict.
Spanish verdict. Happily, we were within the company of a rather distinguished, honourable politician. I shan't say who it is or even which country he comes from. But he came up with a few dibs and saved our bacon. We did the same thing in Casablanca the following year. But that took 2 nights.
The greatest actor, of his generation was a degenerate gambler who, him and his co-star of Lawrence of Arabia, lost all their money in one night and then tried to sell their passports. That's a lot of weakness and addiction. And also O'Toole was notoriously enjoyed a drink. He tells a story like it's funny and charming, but that's an out-of-control addict. And that's the funny high end that they show you, like, oh, gambling is fun and gambling is, it's enjoyable and you can be a sophisticated, English bro doing this. But the real truth of what gambling is today and what gambling is for most people is this video here.
The gambling got significantly worse when I went to college. I had no friends the entire college. I was living in a single dorm by myself, going to bed at 10 a.m. and waking up at 6 p.m. every day, gambling throughout the entire night. And I had a room full of DoorDash. I wasn't paying for this. My parents were paying for my DoorDash at this point because they didn't know I was gambling. They had no, I was keeping it a secret, right? They just thought I was a college kid, right? So I had DoorDash food up to my knees, landfill room. Like I couldn't even step to my computer without stepping in garbage. And there's this one time I got a giant tub. I found this giant tub in the hallway. And I thought this would be perfect to pee in so I don't have to leave my seat to go to the bathroom. We had community style bathrooms, so you had to like walk down the hall to go to the bathroom and like look people in the eye and like have conversations. And I couldn't even do that when I was gambling. Like I was so isolated that I had to just pee in a tub in my room so I didn't have to get up and use the bathroom. It would take like 3 minutes. I couldn't even leave my seat because what if the next hand was the 21? What if the next spin was green on roulette? Like it was all the anticipation, so I couldn't leave.
So, among the white supremacist crowd, the idea that there's autism and I can't look people in the eye because I'm autistic. You can't look people in the eye because you're a degenerate gambler, right? Because you get a dopamine rush giving away everything of fucking value that has ever come into your sphere of influence. And that kid's a perfect example, right? And as long as somebody else is paying the bills, you're going to keep doing that. You're going to keep doing that forever. Oh, man. Why did this fucking thing have to freeze up again? I want to make sure I click the right fucking video. Damn you. Hold on. We got to reload. Stand by. I don't want to click the wrong button and then appear as if I'm some sort of unsophisticated rube when it comes to social media. All right, I'm back. Now we gotta get the right video because we are on the reality of what the future of America is gonna look like. And here it is. This, if you were aware of elite power, is pretty obvious. But this is when I grew up. right? And Peter O'Toole was admired. The idea was you'd go to school, you'd go to college, you'd get a good job, work at a Fortune 500 company, work your way up the corporate ladder, and you would get the corner office. You know what I mean? Like they showed in those movies like The Big Short. You got the big fucking windows and you're looking out over the fucking skyline. Yeah, that used to be the dream, the American dream, or just the corporate version of the American dream. This is the real American dream now.
Okay, I need a gay couple kissing on TV for my parlay to hit. Please! Kai Cenat, Macklemore, Travis Scott, Stable Ronaldo, Burger. Okay, I'm the first person in the world to say that, number one. Number two, gay couple! Gay couple! Ah! 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 Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my God! Max, win! Oh my God!
So kids who flip burgers or have some shitty fucking job want to be that guy because they imagine once they hit for 300 grand or whatever, which would be a good salary if you had that corner office in that high-rise building in the center of town, which, by the way, all those high-rise buildings are now empty and they used to be worth $300 million and now they're worth $3 million. And the guy's jumping around. You can see he's completely, the fucking dopamine is like a tidal wave in his fucking brain. And because he correctly predicted something degenerate would be shown on New Year's Eve. Well, you know, when you go back to the kid that's peeing in the fucking bucket in his college dorm, understand they're all going to be broke again next week, next month. But that cycle and the way it goes round and round until they crash out, until they don't have any more money to gamble, and then they fucking completely lose their mind because they can't get that dopamine anymore. Then they do crazy shit. And you're going to be living in that world. And because everybody's carrying, for some of us, it's a spy device in our pocket. For every anti-Semitic thing we say goes into some NSA archive. I probably have a fucking entire fucking hallway full of shit. But for degenerate gamblers, they got a casino in their pocket, literally in their pocket. They're always gambling. Like this kid said, I brought a plastic tub into my dorm room, which was filled with DoorDash bags and trash so high I couldn't fucking walk to my computer because I didn't want to leave my, I didn't want to get up to pee. That is not much of a life, boy. That is not much of a life. And you can't, but once people are locked into that, because you're never getting that corner office, right? You're never getting out of student debt. You're never going to get that house. When someone else prints the fucking money that you have to use and that money gets devalued every year, right? When inflation is, American inflation is not that bad. It's only 8 or 10%. But when it's as bad as it's going to hit a point so bad where somebody's going to come in, and I don't think anybody's coming into the United States, but something will happen that will seem radical and outrageous, and people will go, meh. Because they're not going to give a shit. They're like, I don't know, maybe things get better. Maybe I'll get more money to gamble. But Corvus Keel, Manhattan skyscrapers are some big time. They're all empty. Even the World Trade Center was fucking mostly empty. It was never, those two buildings were never completely full. Never completely full. I will now look up Jay Wild. White's, what is that? Whitest goy you know. Wow, there's no, I don't think there's a whiter goy than me. The French and Germans with small hats. Whatever. Here's the thing. You want to believe that Adolf Hitler's going to save you. Adolf Hitler's not going to save you. He's not getting reincarnated. He's not coming back to save you. It was going to save you in the first place. But if you have to tell yourself a fairy tale to get through the day, that's probably not the most useful one for you, but you can run with it. In the meantime, aside from let's bet our fast food paycheck on the next act of televised degeneracy. This is what's going on. This is what's going on in England. And as England goes, I swear the rest of the world is going to go sooner or later.
This is terrifying. In the UK, they're starting to label food with a carbon score. Like this sandwich, eating this uses 8.1% of your daily dietary carbon allowance. And the UK has been trying to get this personal carbon allowances passed since 2008. The government decides how much carbon you are allowed to spend every day in order to fight climate change, along with carbon passports that will tell each traveler how much carbon they are allowed to use each year. In other words, how much they're allowed to travel. And all of this is happening right after the UK has rolled out digital IDs mandatory to work. My guess is that digital ID will go in a digital wallet where you might also keep your carbon passport and track your carbon personal allowance. Oh, and don't forget the digital vaccine passports, that would go in there too. They got to make sure that you're up to date with your boosters if you want to travel or work. So if you live in the UK, you might want to be careful how many sandwiches you eat this year because you might not be able to fly home for Christmas. As always, I want to hear what you think about all of this down below.
So that's real. If you've ever booked and looked at the airline tickets, they say this flight saves so much carbon or whatever. If you use Google Maps, which I occasionally use for work, it'll tell you that this route saves more carbon than that route. And if you think that's not coming here, it's coming here. Someone's going to decide what you're allowed to do and not do based on carbon dioxide emissions, or their version of carbon dioxide emissions, which is one, bullshit, okay? The whole carbon trading thing came from the Enron scandal back in the 90s. But aside from that, and I showed this last week, the Chinese have a type of electrical generator, a turbine. Most turbines are steam turbines. You heat up water and it makes steam and it spins a turbine and that makes electricity. Well, the Chinese have found out that you can compress carbon dioxide and then heat that up, and that works better than steam in a turbine. And they actually already have a working power plant which captures carbon dioxide, compresses it, heats it up, and then runs it through a turbine, and then allows it to fucking cool, and they reuse it, and it's a closed loop system. Yeah, that's how the Chinese are going to generate electricity. And so the Chinese have solved global warming, for what that's worth. The chopstick jockeys have solved global warming, and in the meantime, in England, they're gonna throw you in prison for for having one too many sandwiches. Which, by the way, the sandwich was invented in England. And then this story, and this is the other big thing that's going to shape the world. China's economy did what no other economy has managed, and what they're saying is that the Chinese economy has actually grown, and their exports have grown, even though everybody thought they were going to shrink. And they're thinking that China may be so hyper efficient at producing shit that their fear is they could export deflation, which of course all the fiat economists say is terrible. But that means they could actually, even despite the fucking money printer, China can make it so cheap that you won't feel the bite of inflation. I don't think anything ultimately can outrun the money printer. But it may slow the ultimate impact of it. All right, where are we? And then this, I just thought of this before because this has been floating around. But just before I hit go live, the leader of Yemen's Ansar Allah, Abdul Malik al-Houthi, announced that any Israeli presence in the Somaliland region will be considered a military target for the Yemeni armed forces, as it constitutes aggression against Somalia and Yemen, and is a threat to regional security that requires decisive action. And that's the idea that the Jews maybe came up with a scheme to steal $9 billion of U.S. tax money and funnel it back to Somalia to buy land in Somalia and buy off Somalian politicians here in Minnesota, so that the Israelis can move the entire population of Palestinians in Gaza and the West Bank to this newly created state that no one recognizes except Israel, called Somaliland. And the reason why they're going to do that is they're literally going to use, and this is my prediction, you can write this down, Israel is going to move the Palestinians to Somaliland, and then they're going to shoot at Yemen from behind the Palestinians. They're going to use an entire population of people as human shields. So they will shoot at Yemen, and then when Yemen shoots back, Yemen's going to kill Palestinian women and children, and the Jews are going to laugh their fucking asses off. That is my prediction. That, ladies and gentlemen, my prediction. And then, what else? Where was I had one more. Oh, fuck. Wait a minute. Wait. I got a couple more. What the fuck am I? Yeah, all right. And in the meantime, and I've said this before, everybody wants to burn the Constitution. You're all fucking retards, by the way. You all will just burn the Constitution, and then, utopia is going to just on the other side of those flames. As soon as the smoke clears from the burnt Constitution, utopia will appear. You know what? You know who came up with that idea originally? These guys.
And I know it's difficult to hear, but it's time to limit the First Amendment in order to protect it.
Everybody in the United States better listen up, because here you have an Israeli telling Americans on CNBC that they need to limit First Amendment rights in order to protect free speech. What he goes on to say will absolutely blow your mind. He's advocating.
Nah, it won't blow the mind. It won't blow the mind of anybody from these circles. But yeah, they're now on television. They're not saying burn the Constitution. We're just gonna crush it down a little bit. We're just gonna reduce it. We're just gonna burden the Constitution, which, by the way, has been going on for quite some time. But yeah, they're now on television telling you you have to have less constitutional rights you have to burn the Constitution in order to save it. Don't you understand, Goy? And then what do we got? We got some fucking stuff here. Oh, I did that. I skipped over 2 fucking rows? Really? And then this guy's talking about, and I think I said the same thing. Here's someone more articulate than I am saying the same thing about how Somaliland was funded.
You can't afford to buy a home
because $8 trillion of your money was spent fighting Israel's enemies in the Middle East.
Iraq, Iran, and Libya are racing to develop nuclear weapons.
That same $8 trillion could have bought over 34 million homes at $250,000 each. And if a family of 4 lived in each home, 132 million Americans could have had free housing. But Zionists had other priorities for your money.
You are wondering whether you can afford to have another child because childcare is so expensive. Meanwhile,
your tax dollars fund free childcare in Israel for every Israeli child. That's one reason Israel's birth rate is higher than America's. Americans are subsidizing Israeli families while struggling to start their own.
And if you objected, if you had the audacity to ask why your children were being disinherited in your country,
they will call you an anti-Semite.
That's why people are so angry about it.
Work a job that you likely hate and have a portion of your earnings taken from you by our federal government and funneled to the Israeli government so they can commit atrocities in the Gaza Strip. Are you okay with that? Because I'm not okay with that. And nothing gets under my skin more, okay, than hearing these pieces of crap.
And then spit in our faces
You see these videos of Christians, priests with crucifixes around their necks getting spit on in Jerusalem.
Jewish men and children spitting on
Christian worshipers.
a small child spit on one of the pastors.
See, the fun thing about rage bait stuff like that is it does no good. So what? Nobody's getting arrested. No one's going to jail. No one's losing their bank account. No one's losing their job. No one's even losing 1 week's fucking pay, right? They don't even have to make a public apology. And the reason why I tell you to take the shitty green pieces of paper that you're paid in, the fiat currency, and turn it into Bitcoin is because only by building an economic system that can replace the existing one, right? Only by destroying central banking will any of this shit stop. Because you can farm all the fucking outrage you want, and you can go into your delusional Hitler was the good guy bullshit, or listen, if we just burn the Constitution, we'll come up with something better on the other side of it. You're an idiot. You have no resources. You have no fucking knowledge base. You couldn't build a fucking sand castle. You know what I mean? You couldn't build a castle out of sand. But you think you're going to build some sort of perfect ethno-state using the Jews' money, walking around with a Jewish spy device in your pocket, like what I'm talking into right now, and overthrowing Jewish power using the systems they use to hold you down. That's how fucking stupid you are. And that is really, really stupid. Be smart. Do what's legal and undermine the source of their power, which is fiat currency, because you ain't going nowhere and you ain't doing nothing without them knowing about it.
Most Americans still think that Flock is something fixed to a pole. It's not. Flock's system now extends into the air with drone as first responder platforms built on Aerodome and deployed by Flock Safety. These drones launch automatically from hardened docks, not trucks, and operate at 400 feet BVLOS, not the typical 200. That extra altitude means wider coverage, faster scene awareness, and fewer blind spots. They run multi-LTE links, onboard radar for 24/7 aircraft detection, thermal, night vision, and live video. Fully integrated into dispatch systems. This isn't a camera, it's a mobile response layer.
That is the Flock system. They use it in the town I live in here in New Jersey. I don't know if they have the drones. I haven't seen any drones flying around. But you wonder why the police pull over this car and not that car? Because you drove past one of the license plate readers. It scanned your license plate. And if anything was wrong with your papers, a message was sent immediately to law enforcement, what your exact location and time and location were. And then they're going to pull you over. And then you will be interacting with armed tyrants who are happier than you to destroy the Constitution. You aren't going to win this. There's no direct confrontation where you win this, okay? That's just not going to happen. Didn't happen for Maduro. It ain't going to happen for the Iranians. It ain't going to happen for Kim Jong-un, okay? There's one way to win this, and that is to create something they don't own, they can't stop, and they don't control. And that is the Bitcoin network, period, end of fucking story. And I will debate this with anybody, anytime, anywhere. So this new guy in the chat, like if you know somebody that wants to do a live stream, that wants to like debate me, motherfucker, send me the link, because I will destroy your fucking hero. I will slit his fucking throat on fucking camera in front of his entire audience. I will fucking wreck you and your fucking heroes. Will it change your mind? No, because you still believe in a fairy tale. But you can still afford to believe in a fairy tale. When the superinflation finally hits America, you'll forget everything you ever believed you thought. Yeah, so what happened to every country that ends central banking? Well, they haven't, because every country on the planet has a central bank. Whether it's a central bank controlled by the Rothschilds or not doesn't make a difference. Okay. Do you think it makes a difference to the people of Venezuela that the Rothschilds robbed them or that the Maduro crime family robbed them? Do you really think that that matters when you're living in a fucking South American slum? Who robbed you? Do you think that it matters that you wasted your whole fucking life just trying to fucking scratch out a fucking living? Do you think it fucking matters who robbed you? Who stole everything from you? Who fucking took your child's future from you? Do you really think that fucking matters? Oh, it was a Rothschild, or it's somebody with the same skin color as me who has the same fucking accent I do. Do you think that fucking matters? If you do, it shows you don't live in the fucking real world. You are high up enough, right? In the current economic system, so that none of this shit affects you and none of this shit is ever going to affect you. But so you think. So you're living very far from the consequences of these actions. So you can have all these airy-fairy bullshit thoughts about what should be this and what should be that. Muammar Gaddafi used to be a communist. Okay, when he took over Libya, the coup that took over Libya, he was an Arab communist, and he wrote the Little Green Book of Libya, which was a copy of Mao's Little Red Book of Communism. And he made plenty of deals with everybody in the fucking West. It was a total scumbag for decades. And at the end of his life, he finally thought, hey, you know what? Maybe I should do something for the people of Libya. Maybe, we got all this extra. Well, let's take a fucking steel pipe system and let's pipe water into the desert and let's expand our fucking farmland and I'll pay some people to go live out there. And who knows, things might get better for the Libyan people. And as soon as he came up with that idea, after 50 years of doing whatever the fuck he wanted, then they took him out. So, none of these guys were good guys. There are no good guys. There are parasites that I guess maybe you benefit from, but they're all parasites. And at the end of the day, when all is said and done, all their schemes come the same way. They all come the same way. And that will eventually happen to America. I don't know when. It will eventually happen to America. And there needs to be something in place to step in when the dollar collapses, when it's no longer the world's global reserve currency. And I don't know what you think that thing's going to be. It's not going to be Hitler bucks. I guarantee you that. But the sooner you start trading your shitty government money for government money that can't be owned and controlled and stopped by anyone, the better off you're going to be. The better off you're going to be. Libya was not destroyed to flood Europe with Africans. That's bullshit. That's fucking, that's total bullshit. Those Africans were going to get there one way or another. They didn't need to destroy Libya to do that. They did not need to destroy Libya to do that. And by the way, there were the blacks going to Europe prior to that. Maybe not in quite such large numbers, but still. You live in a fucking dream world, son. And enjoy it while it lasts. Enjoy it while it lasts. And since you're here, look at this, an hour and 9 minutes. We're gonna wrap this up. We're gonna wrap this up. And what do we have to do? We have to smash up the like button. That is the feedback that I crave. Smash up the like button, and with that, it's an hour and 9 minutes. I have to go start. Like I said earlier, in order for me to maintain my employment, I have to start an LLC in my own name. So I'm gonna get that done tomorrow. And to Corvus Keel and to Jay Wild, who just showed up, and everybody else that's gonna watch in the coming week. Thanks a lot for stopping by, guys. And I will see you again next week.